Do you ever get to the end of the day feeling utterly drained? Not because of what you did for yourself, but because you spent all your energy trying to be the one who everyone else wanted you to be. You say yes when you're screaming no on the inside. You agree to plans that you know will exhaust you. You take on extra work that isn't even yours. And slowly, you start to forget what you actually want, what you need, and who you even are. If this feels familiar, it's time to break free. This isn't just another video about the power of saying no. This is about a fundamental shift in how you see yourself in your life. We're going to walk through the exact steps to stop letting others set your standards so you can finally start living life on your own terms. First, the invisible cage of other people's expectations. See, that feeling of being drained and losing yourself, it's not your fault. It's a sign you've been living in an invisible cage built from other people's expectations. People-pleasing is basically a survival tactic that you use to get others to like you and to sidestep rejection or criticism. The problem is it can lead to burnout, resentment, and a constant humming feeling of being totally overwhelmed. For a lot of us, this starts when we're children. We learn that being good means being compliant, agreeable, and always putting others first. We end up tying our self-worth to our performance and how we will meet those outside expectations. We unconsciously start to believe, if I do everything they want, they will value me. If I'm perfect, I'll be loved. This kicks off a dangerous cycle where we're constantly chasing an impossible level of approval that's always just out of reach. But here's the main issue. When you don't have your own standards, you become a target. You attract people and situations that benefit from your willingness to abandon yourself. You teach the world that your needs are optional, that your voice doesn't really matter, and that your energy is an unlimited resource for them to drain. This isn't kindness, it's self-abandonment. The chronic stress and anxiety that come from this are huge. When the gap between their expectations and your reality gets too wide, life becomes deeply frustrating. But the truth that can set you free, someone else's expectation of you is their problem, not yours. Your worth is not up for negotiation. It's time to stop letting other people define it for you. Second, the power of personal standards. So what's the antidote? It's developing your own set of personal standards. Think of your standards as a rule book for your life. They're the blueprint for how you treat yourself and how you expect others to treat you. This isn't about being demanding or selfish. It's a powerful act of self-respect. In fact, healthy boundaries are the foundation of great relationships. When your standards are built on your own core values, everything changes. They become your internal compass, helping you make decisions with a new sense of clarity and ease. You just know what's a fit for you and what's not. This cuts down on anxiety and that overwhelmed feeling because you finally have a sense of control over your own life. A huge part of this is self-comparison. We often hold other people to impossible standards because we hold ourselves to them first. We can't give others grace for being human because we offer none to ourselves. Learning to be kind to yourself is the essential first step. When you start treating yourself with respect, you naturally start expecting it from others. Third, the blueprint. 5 steps to reclaim your life. Okay, understanding all of this is one thing, but actually doing it is another. So let's get practical. Here's a 5-step blueprint to stop letting others call the shots in your life. First, identify your values and priorities. You can't build a life on your own terms if you don't know what those terms are. You have to get quiet and listen to yourself. So the first step is to check in and figure out what's genuinely important to you. Ask yourself some honest questions, maybe even write down the answers. What gives you energy? What drains it? Which relationships constantly leave you feeling stressed or anxious? And what situations do you feel taken advantage of? Pay close attention to your gut reactions. That little twinge of resentment is a huge clue. It's often a sign that one of your core values is being stepped on. Every yes you say to someone else is a no to something for yourself, so get clear on what you're no longer willing to say no to. Step 2, define your value-centered boundaries. Once you know your values, you can set boundaries that actually protect them. This is a total game changer. Instead of setting angry, reactive boundaries like, I'm never answering their calls again, you create calm, proactive boundaries based on what you cherish. For example, if you value your peace, a boundary might sound like, I don't check work emails after 6 p.m. because my evenings are for my family. If you value mutual respect in your friendship, a boundary might be, I'm not available for one-sided conversations where I'm always the listener. I need to feel that our support goes both ways. If you value protecting your physical and emotional energy, a boundary might be, I need at least one full day each week with nothing scheduled so I can recharge. I won't be available for plans on Sundays. These boundaries can cover all parts of your life. Time boundaries protect your schedule. Communication boundaries define how people can contact you. Emotional boundaries protect you from taking on everyone else's stress. Energy boundaries ensure you have the fuel to show up as your best self. 3, communicate your boundaries clearly and kindly. This is usually the hardest part, but you can't skip it. You have to communicate your limits, and you need to do it clearly, respectfully, and without a bunch of over-explaining. Use I statements to own your needs without blaming anyone else. For instance, instead of saying, you're always dumping your problems on me, try something like, I have the energy to listen for just a bit, but after that, I need to protect my own peace. Here are a few phrases you can practice. I really appreciate you thinking of me, but I can't take that on right now. Let me get back to you. I need to check my schedule. This is a magic phrase that gives you a moment to pause instead of blurting out an automatic yes to whatever it is they're asking. I'm choosing to handle this my own way, but I appreciate your input. Never forget the most powerful phrase of all. No, no, no. That's a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone a long-winded excuse for protecting your own energy. 4, challenge your unrealistic standards. Sometimes the hardest standards are the ones we put on ourselves. We become our own worst critic, chasing a relentless, soul-crushing perfectionism that doesn't exist. You have to start questioning these impossibly high bars that you set. Notice when that critic pipes up, ask yourself, is this standard even realistic? Is it actually helping me? Imagine what your life would feel like if you lowered that standard by just 10%. What would you gain? Usually, the answer is more peace, more joy, and a lot more freedom. If you struggle with this, find a friend who seems to have a good work-life balance and ask them what their version of good enough looks like. Sometimes You just need a reality check to see how unreasonable your own expectations have become. Fifth, stop over-functioning. Over-functioning is when you consistently do more than your fair share, at home, at work, or in your relationships. When you do this, you teach people that you don't need to pull their own weight because you'll always be there to pick up the slack for them. This just reinforces the idea that your needs come second. Here's what this looks like in real life. Maybe you're the one who always plans every holiday gathering, remembers every birthday, and cleans after family dinners while everyone else relaxes and enjoys themselves. You become the family's default organizer and caretaker. Stepping back might mean saying, I love to host Thanksgiving, but I need help. Who can bring sides? Who can help clean up? Or it might mean letting someone else take the lead entirely. I'm not able to organize this year's event. Would someone else like to? Yes, there might be awkward silence. Yes, the event might look different. But when you stop carrying everything, you give others the opportunity to contribute. And you give yourself the gift of not being exhausted and resentful. The solution is to consciously and deliberately step back. Decline requests that don't fit your priorities. Communicate what you can realistically do within your boundaries. More importantly, stick to those boundaries, even when it feels uncomfortable. When you stop over-functioning, you create a space that requires others to finally step up. Now, I want to hear from you. Of these 5 steps, which ones are you going to focus on first? Is it identifying your core values, communicating a boundary, or maybe challenging your own inner critic? Let me know in the comments. Sharing your first step is a powerful way to make it real. The fear you have to face, I'm going to be honest. The biggest reason we let others set our standards is fear. We're afraid of disappointing people. We're afraid of being called difficult or selfish. We're terrified that if we have standards, people will leave us. Here's the hard truth you need to embrace. Having standards will make some people leave, and that is the entire point. You are not for everyone. You are not for the people who don't respect you, who don't value your time, or who don't admire the presence that they have in your life. If your standards are pushing them away, they were the wrong people. That discomfort of setting a boundary is actually temporary, but the resentment you feel from letting it get crossed can last a lifetime. Breaking free from other people's expectations isn't a one and done event. It's a lifelong practice of coming back home to yourself. It starts with a radical idea that your needs matter just as much as anyone else's. It's built through self-awareness, clear communication, and taking courage actions, even when it's scary. At first, it's going to feel like hard work. I will not hold you. But with time, it becomes second nature. The pressure to please everyone starts to fade, and in its place, your self-respect will grow. You'll start making choices from a place of empowerment, not obligation. You will build self-trust because you'll know deep down that you always have your own back. So starting today, I encourage you to take one small step. Identify one value, set one tiny boundary. Reclaiming your standards is the ultimate act of self-care. It's how you finally stop just surviving and start truly living. If this video tapped into a space that you didn't even know was there, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on building a life that's truly your own. And don't forget to check out our other videos on how to overcome the guilt of saying no. And I thank you for watching. And remember, you're in control.